An amendment is a change or addition to the existing Constitution. This is the 16th Amendment by Joselyn Castro. The 16th Amendment gives the government the power to lay and collect taxes on incomes regardless of any census or population of a state. This means that the government can lay taxes on goods or commodities and can collect taxes from people's incomes no matter where that money is earned. The 16th Amendment allows the government to effectively collect taxes and not have to share it with other states, which is why it is called federal income tax. The 16th Amendment was ratified in 1913 and helped make the federal government more powerful by creating a more modern nationwide income tax, which became the largest source of revenue in the U.S. Some examples of the 16th Amendment powers are to collect taxes on incomes, lay taxes on duties, and lay taxes on certain goods or commodities. Before the 16th Amendment, the government struggled with finding effective ways to collect money for military, foreign affairs, and other uses. Thus, the 16th Amendment effectively helped change the American way of life. The 16th Amendment helped solve the issue of unequal distribution of taxes among states and has so far been helping with the growth of economy in the U.S. Another issue before the 16th Amendment was when farmers were unhappy with how their products were being sold for lower prices than goods produced in factories, which led to a case that would determine if the income tax was direct, which are taxes that should be paid directly to the government, or indirect, which are taxes that would be passed on to another person or group by the person or business that owns it. Public services such as scientific and medical research, roads, bridges, education, and more, military defenses, Social Security, and Medicare are all examples of what the 16th Amendment has helped the government support and pay for with the federal income taxes they collect. The 16th Amendment has put government spending to beneficial uses that has further helped with national and economic growth. A controversial issue today between the government and the people is the rise of national debt and federal deficit or shortage of federal income, which means that Americans are being taxed more and it is becoming harder to keep up with. Homelessness and unemployment are two examples of effects of the rise of taxes in the U.S. and continues to be a problem unless the government does something to help relieve it. My Supreme Court case is Pollock v. Farmers Loan and Trust Company and took place in the Southern District of New York during the 1890s and involved Charles Pollock and Farmers Loan and Trust Company. In this case, Charles Pollock was a stockholder who worked for the Farmers Loan and Trust Company. He previously sued the defendant, the Farmers Loan and Trust Company, but was unsuccessful, so he appealed to the Supreme Court and filed returns for and paid an income tax to the federal government. During this time, the Income Tax Act of 1894 was happening, and Pollock allegedly claimed that the tax being imposed upon the defendant's income was unconstitutional. He stated that the tax being imposed upon the company property itself was a direct tax and did not meet requirements of the U.S. Constitution. Pollock's reasoning was that states did not have the power to lay taxes upon U.S. property. This also meant that the government did not have the power to lay taxes upon state property to make it fair. This case involving the Income Tax Act of 1894 later on helped support with the creation of the 16th Amendment. The question before the Supreme Court in this case was, did the Government and Income Tax Act of 1894 violate federal law by placing a direct tax upon this state property? The answer is yes. The Income Tax Act of 1894 laid taxes upon a state property itself, making it a violation of federal law. The ruling in this case was that, in a 5-4 decision, the court held that Pollock's reasoning was valid and that the income tax was indeed a direct tax upon the state property itself, which was a violation of the Constitution. The court found since it was a direct tax, it would have to be apportioned or divided among states. My true-false statement is the 16th Amendment allows the government to have the power to lay and collect income taxes, but with some limitations depending on the population of states. And the answer to this statement is false. And that was the 16th Amendment. Thank you.